Hey guys, Budcat7 here. Okay, it is Thursday, March 4th, 2021, and I'd like to thank you for visiting the Stonewall Research channel here on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. All right, guys, well, it's time once again for me to piss off a whole bunch of people and burst their bubble and talk about all the rabbit holes and the truth drops, the multitude of them that deal with the UFO phenomena. And, I've had several conversations with people about, what it is that I believe in. If you're a long time subscriber on my channel, you know what that is. We'll go over it again for the new subscribers. It's just something that has nothing to do with stone walls or stone constructions or the giants or, as far as I know. But it may have something to do with Bigfoot, though, but we'll discuss that a different time. But this whole notion about UFOs and a lot of first response I get in these conversations is that Budcat, you don't believe in UFOs, and you get very upset, and it seems like it's like a program response to me because what is put out by mainstream media and people have heard for a long time and seem to internalize and take as the truth, similar to that of the Ice Age, and what it's really a theory, but they take it as a fact and they seem to know it as a fact. So whether it be the denials, the official government denials, or whatever it is they'll admit to, or the alternative quote unquote thread, which basically to me is just the controlled opposition. Another story put out there to just lead you in a different direction. And the real story is not really being talked about, but it's been talked about before. And where would I get my idea from? And it was interesting on the the interview that I did with Mike at Conflict Radio and Jared Murphy there. When I mentioned that what I believed about the UFOs, these are living creatures, these biomechanoids that live in space and in our atmosphere. If you're a flat earther and you don't believe in space or just live up there somewhere, and quite possibly. And look, if you want to talk about inner Earth or alternate dimensions or whatever it means, parallel universes or whatever, and things coming in and out of those things, that's a possibility that I'll entertain. But I more or less believe more like what Stephen Hawking believes. If the aliens are going to come here, they're either going to say hello. If they're intelligent beings, they're going to say hello, or they're just going to eliminate us all and take everything we have by conquest. And it's just as simple as that. They're not putting themselves in government and all these fanciful, romanticized stories about aliens and all this kind of stuff. It's just, it could be beings from all, a parallel dimension or something like that. I'm not going to rule that out, but probably not aliens. So if it were to be aliens, I believe something more like what Stephen Hawking believes, it's probably going to just eliminate us all, like we've heard about so many times in science fiction as it is. Besides, They Live, which I love that film. Okay, it's not about aliens' takeover of the planet. It's a political movie. It's about what's going on now. It's about what society we live in now. Okay, it's not the aliens there. It's the people who are these dominance type people who want to take control. These control freaks. They're not free. They don't believe in freedom and all that kind of stuff. They believe in control. And if people ask for control because they feel safer under control, and they want less freedoms and stuff because they feel safer. Okay, that's the trade-off between free societies and controlled societies. Okay, don't want to get into it. So what are these UFOs? What am I going on about? What is Buddy Cat talking about? Why does this have nothing to do with stone walls and all this kind of stuff? Well, let's talk about why I believe in these things. And you see this book here by an author. named Trevor James Constable, and he came out with his first book, They Live in the Sky, Invisible Incredible UFOs Around Us. Then follow with this book, The Cosmic Pulse of Life, the revolutionary biological power behind UFOs, and he even does one on rain engineering and UFO reality because he believed in this sort of rain engineering based on Wilhelm Reich's theories in orgone energy, etc. Okay, and this is about one of his other books, Sky Creatures, Living UFOs. Okay, so this is an idea that maybe you never heard of because they never presented on the History Channel. And I just find it very strange why they don't present this because it seems awfully interesting to me. Why wouldn't you present this? Okay, because it's apparently people like the stories about the reptilians and the greys and all these other kinds of aliens and all kind of stuff. But let me make my arguments to you here, okay? At least keep an open mind about it, okay? I've talked about it before on my channel and presented it in videos on my channel, even of me more or less continuing the research of Constable here. But let's read what it says here and talk about it a little bit. So, Syrian Press presents the final revised edition of These Sky Creatures, Living UFOs, which provides the most concise and complete look at the groundbreaking work of the late military historian James Trevor Constable, whose intriguing theory sparked the widespread 21st century fascination with intelligent energies, what some call quote unquote spaghetti monsters that apparently live in our skies and can be photographed using special processes. And Constable is using infrared film and infrared lenses during the day to photograph these blobs that sort of were floating around the atmosphere. But he goes on to talk about in his books about these hard-shelled ones that also lived in space are the ones he's talking about and what I'm talking about. Okay, and we'll talk about it a little bit more so we just don't go off track because there's just so many layers to the rabbit holes and the truth drops that go along with this that you might find interesting here that I'm going to point out to you. Okay, this extraordinary book has done what thousands of astrophysicists, exobiologists, and ufologists have failed to do. It breaks through the baffling UFO mystery to demonstrate the presence of living quote unquote critters in the sky, a nearly invisible life form of unknown origin. Okay, and I've been following UFO, history for since I was a little kid, and I've heard everything. I've read all sorts of accounts. I know everything. And it just reminds me of what John Glenn said about the fireflies, okay? They're all over the sky. It's his quote here. They said it was luminescent pieces of debris from the rocket ship, etc., that, created these fireflies. But they seem to be moving around, so I don't know what they're talking about. But again, it's just to downplay the story and just more rabbit holes for people to go down and whatnot. But it seems to me if you're calling them fireflies, sort of represents some sort of insect. Okay, again, a living creature, not a spaceship or spacecraft. Drawing on the theories of Rudolf Steiner and Dr. Wilhelm Reich, okay, two pretty ingenious guys, intelligent guys in their own right. Rudolf Steiner was like a no-Nazi, okay? Well, I don't agree with all his theories about human being and anatomy and all this kind of stuff, but there was some thread he was on that has some connection to the giants, which it seems remote, but we'll discuss that at a different time. But there's a reason why he didn't understand his own ideas about these things because he didn't know the history of, what went on this planet with the hominids. But these two brilliant guys, okay, thought these similar thoughts. Okay, Sky Creatures uniquely states with photographic evidence that UFOs are not extraterrestrial spaceships at all, but biological organisms inhabiting our own planet. Okay, and I take it one step further and say they just inhabit space. They're in space, the vast ocean of space. And there's many things we can relate it to. And as I take it through in my own research on my channel, perhaps you saw this video, bioluminescence, bioelectrical animals, biomechanoids, and UFOs. Okay, about all the fantastic creatures here on planet, good old Mother Earth. Okay, And here's one of them right here. Okay, this sort of sacred geometry, geodesic dome type creature here. Looks like a spacecraft. Okay, it's a microorganism, but again, what lives in the ocean, and this is something you never heard of before. Anybody sort of mentioned that sort of thing. Okay, space is an ocean. Here's somebody from the U.S. Naval Institute, Commander Sam J. Tangredi, which is my last name of my nephew and niece, and Commander Sam J. Tangredi sort of relating, space to an ocean here. Okay, and as a matter of fact, Carl Sagan is another guy who says something about just a speck in the vast ocean of space. Okay, this is an ocean. Okay, show on my channel here. These creatures that live in the ocean certainly look like UFOs to me. Some of these things that we see living, reported as being UFOs, it seems similar to these things right here. Okay, these, small plankton type organisms here can be found out throughout the world. Just fantastic. Okay, and I go over in this video here about other things, other creatures that have gears in them. Okay, things that illuminate themselves. Okay, bioelectric animals. Okay, this combination of these things. That's what these things are. Okay, I'm taking this another step in this guy's research here and postulating on these things. I'm not the only one, but not too many people talk about it. All right. And written in clear, non technical language, these pages present UFOs as they have never been presented before, as bioorganisms native to our atmosphere living with us, side by side, unnoticed since the beginning of time. Okay, well, not completely unnoticed, I would imagine, because, we could talk about all these old reports, see where this follows a thread of ufology that makes a lot of sense, but this is where it sort of parts. Even though people in the ufology know about this or whatever, it's their least favorite theory about any of these things. It's much prefer spaceships, et cetera, because that's more interesting and highly more romanticized. You can make all sorts of soap opera type things out of it, whether it be movies and comic books and all that kind of stuff. But if you really want to talk about truth drops in movies, all I can talk about is Close Encounters of the Third Kind, because it's right in your face here. Okay, where these things are communicating by sound and light. Okay, whereas not these UFO creatures, okay, who are bioluminescent, bioelectric, and biomechanical, they're biomechanoids. Okay, Close Encounters is giving you a truth drop here. This is a complete truth drop from the 70s. Apparently, in the late 70s, we want to give you all these truth drops. And if you haven't figured it out by now, all right, I'm going to go for the jugular. Roswell. We're going to talk about what happened at Roswell. Okay, because that's this whole thread of Roswell, whether it be the official government denial or what was found there, okay, is just another rabbit hole for you to go down. Okay, but as I said, I go over, give arguments for this on my channel with these animals right here that live on our planet and what they are and what they do, and just incredible and fantastic things. So it's not my unique idea. Rudolf Steiner, Wilhelm Reich, and certainly Trevor James Trevor Constable thought about these things and wrote several books about it. Okay. And whenever I do hear reporting from Peter Davenport, National UFO Reporting Center, this is what I believe before I even ran into the work of Constable. When I heard about these things, I was saying these things are acting like animals. And they give some of the reports, it showed them like animal behavior and even in mother and offspring behaviors. And this paralysis that people often encounter with UFOs, okay, these clusters of UFOs shooting laser beams at us, okay, and channels like Beyond Creepy with his reports on a channel of constant sleep paralysis, people were paralyzed, okay, these things have, advanced sort of electrical systems that are based on probably light, and what we think of that was a crash at Roswell was actually one of these creatures, okay? And these are all the rabbit hole stories for you to go down the official denials, by mainstream, etc. Okay, you can see if the Smithsonian wants to explain it to you as a high altitude balloon crash. Okay, this is the official explanation of Roswell, okay, from 2017. Here's one from 2019 from the History Channel, history.com. They'll be happy to tell you about aliens and UFOs, and they give this video at the beginning to get you hooked on the thing, okay? But I'm trying to tell you, people, the History Channel is reporting. See, they're reporting. They're happy to report to you the official denials, but at the same time, they're going to continue this thread with these things being some sort of spaceship and aliens are real, etc., etc. And it seems like when I get into conversations with people, they have this sort of automatic pre-programmed response already to what I'm going to say based on their sort of, you know, um, brainwashing academy, mainstream school system um, education. Okay, some of us got programmed and some of us didn't. I didn't get programmed. Okay, I took advanced curriculum because they knew I was going to be bored with it. I scored very high in IQ in the SATs and CATs and all those kind of tests. So this is something I've been interested in a long time, and based on all these reports. But if the History Channel is happy to give it to you folks, I'm sorry. I hate to burst your bubble, but that's all a rabbit hole for you to go down and chase and get off the subject, because they know what these things really are. What happened at Roswell is one of these creatures either expired or whatever and landed there at Roswell, crashed at Roswell. They didn't find aliens there. They found this creature that was all one thing, okay? Besides Close Encounters, I don't know if you remember a movie, um, Batteries Not Included. Okay, this is from the 70s too. Okay, where these things are not simply UFOs, but they're all like something more like what Jared Murphy was talking about. They're machines, but they have like artificial intelligence. They're UFOs. This sort of kids' family movie, whatever. Another more truth drops given to you in the 70s, folks. I'm trying to tell you. All right, just forget about the whole History Channel story there. It's nothing but a bunch of nonsense, and the official, denials by the governments because they really know what it is. Okay, they tried to dissect this thing. Okay, and they found, what we know as fiber optics in these things. These things are all their brain and their systems are all light driven things. These things are constantly shooting beams, laser beams. If aliens are flashing laser beams at us, okay, they're talking about these lights coming from these things. Okay, all right, they're shooting these beams, people being paralyzed. They can use their brains to paralyze us. They're trying to probe us. Their minds can overpower our minds. They're intelligent creatures, okay? This is where the missing 411 thing comes. These things are predatory. It's probably the adolescents, their parents don't want them to go and do these things, but the adolescents will do these kind of things. They're intelligent like dolphins, okay? Very highly intelligent, more advanced brains. I talk about that in my video as well. Okay, the amazing abilities of animals right here on this planet. Okay, they're predatory. They go and they snatch these people, and they can accelerate. To see, this is, we have drones today, right? Like these things from a batteries not included, right? The movie Batteries Not. We have things that are like drones, right? So drones can't do what a dragonfly can do. Okay, folks. Okay, even a drone, little drone, can accelerate really quick, like really quick. Like for it to get to full maximum speed is pretty quick. Like milliseconds or whatever it is, but it still can't do what a dragonfly can do. A dragonfly can accelerate at full speed instantly. Instantly can turn in any direction. It could go backwards in any direction at full speed. Full speed. It's all one unit. Okay, they're always saying, well, how could these things going 10,000 miles an hour, 6,000 miles an hour, whatever it is in our atmosphere, make these right angle turns and everything? Anything inside would be dead. Couldn't survive the G forces that would have happened inside, no matter what living thing was inside there. Okay, but there's nothing living in it. Okay, it's all one unit. All right, if I shrank you down to a little, you know, guy and strapped you to the back of a dragonfly, and you'd be dead in a minute from the G forces. This thing can accelerate full power, full speed, instantly, automatic, turn in any direction, full speed. Okay, nothing we build can do that. Okay, or may never be able to do that. Okay, but these things that live in space can do that because they're all one unit. They're all one creature. Okay, so another thing with Close Encounters of the Third Kind was that all these UFOs that the people saw in the movies seem all to be like different, like the different species of these things that live in space and live in our atmosphere, from these blob creatures to these hard shell ones, whatever. Space is alive with these things because of the vast ocean of space. They're trying to give you the truth drops, folks. It's an ocean. It's filled with creatures. Okay. Can they get bigger than what they are, miles long or whatever? Okay, like the NASA tether um, videos there. Can it be like miles across? Well, maybe that's as big as they can get in open space, of an open ocean of space, like the vast ocean of space that Carl Sagan talks about. Okay, it's an ocean. They're trying to give you a hint. They're trying to throw all these truth drops at you, and as I said, in the Close Encounters, all these different ones, and they seem to act in the movie autonomously. Not that something was inside intelligent controlling them, but more likely that it's all one unit, it's all one creature. There's nothing inside controlling it. It's its own creature. Okay. And back to 411, this is these things have animal-like mentality. Okay, if they are predatory in any way, and they live in our atmosphere or outside our planet, because it's a vast oasis in space, in the vastness of space, it's an oasis in the vastness of the ocean of space, in a sense, right? Blue planet. Okay, they probably need water. Are they silicon-based life forms? Maybe they're just a completely combination of different elements altogether. I don't know. They masters of camouflage, certainly. It seems like it. They're always disappearing and appearing and whatnot. That's just simple camouflage built in. UFOs and paralysis. And here's where it gets multi-layered threads, okay? The deniers or whatever it is, okay? Even though people believe that the aliens are kidnapping the Greys or reptilians, and I don't believe that. I believe their minds are being probed by these things, and that's part of their system. This probe can be used as a weapon as well. If they intensify it, they have the ability to do that. When meanwhile they're probing us, and in a way our mind can only make sense of these things is in a way we can understand. So we're being probed and all kinds of machines and tools and all kinds of stuff but they're only probing us mentally, but we can't. They're overpowering our brains. I'm not the first one to come up with this theory. People who believe in Reich and Constable and Steiner and all kind of stuff, they seem to think that as well. Pretty smart guys. All right. And these people are really in sleep. They're not leaving their bed or their car or the plane or whatever it is. These animal creatures are probing them with their powerful brains that are on a sort of light wave frequency. Okay. And when you know about, I got a whole bunch of kitties around here. When you know about the nervous system, and here's just, let me read this to you, okay? At the cellular level, the nervous system is defined by the presence of a special type of cell called the neuron, also known as the nerve cell. Neurons have special structures that allow them to send signals rapidly and precisely to other cells. They send these signals in the form of electrochemical waves traveling along thin fibers called axons, which cause chemicals called neurotransmitters to be released at junctions called synapses. Okay, so in a way, this represents almost like a fiber optic network, a thing that would work optically, okay? And many ufologists talk about what at Roswell, the craft, if that's what they think it is, the spacecraft that crashed at Roswell, and they went in there and they tried to disassemble it and reverse engineer it. Well, that's not what they were doing. There was no bodies found at Roswell. Okay, this is my own take on it, folks, because I support this argument of these things being creatures. And no aliens were taken from there like us. Two eyes, arms, legs, or whatever it is. The whole thing was a creature, and many of these ufologists say that the craft that they tried to reverse engineer some of the things from it, brought us computers and fiber optics. Okay, fiber optics. Think these creatures probably, instead of having like veins that pump blood through their system, probably had these fiber optic systems and had these built-in star drives or anti-gravity drives or whatever, these similar to all these organisms that live on this planet. Okay, but in the vast oceans of space. Okay, so they sort of want you to go down this other thread here about, it's just simply sleep paralysis itself. Okay, so you got people believing that they're being kidnapped by the Greys and reptilians, which isn't what's going on. And then you have the other people here who are going to explain it by saying that it's simply, okay, the sleep paralysis that's bringing on these sort of visions and whatnot. And here you got me, Bugcat 7, trying to tell you that these creatures that live in our atmosphere and in space or whatever, okay, are trying to communicate with us with their powerful minds, okay? And they're using their beams there, like these clusters of UFOs are shooting at each other in space, right? It's just that these creatures are paralyzing these people in order to probe them. Some of these people are, paralyzed standing up looking at the UFO. Some of these people are paralyzed in bed, in the car. sitting in a plane or whatever it is. It's these creatures. They're probing their minds. They can lock onto it. And they're probably in the missing 411, okay, which I want to just tell Dave because I love him and I want to give him my theory here. It probably makes the most sense. Is that they're locking onto people who have a certain sort of electrical signal to them. Whatever that signal is, they're giving off a signal that these things can hone onto. Maybe they can locate those things. That's what their senses enable them to do. Where they see in infrared or whatever it is, using light or whatever. And they're sensing these people in these remote areas seem to be easier to pick off than in large populations, a lot of people, where they might get noticed, even though they're, very well camouflaged with their, cloaking mechanism or whatever they use. They're like similar to animals right here on this planet. That's the truth, folks. These animals are able to completely camouflage themselves by using light receptors on one side of their body and projecting the background on the other side. What's to stop these creatures that you're flying around the atmosphere? All you have to do is project a blue sky background, gray sky background on whatever feature you're showing, and then decloak whenever you need to. Okay? I'm just saying, okay? Again, giving these arguments for this, all right? And to just now that male cats are fighting over the females here, just to talk once about again. I want to do these videos over and over again to give these arguments about it. I always talk about Farscape and Moya here. This is this science fiction show. If you don't not familiar with it, look it up online, okay? Where the ship that they're traveling in is actually a living ship. It's being mastered by a pilot, sort of symbiotic thing, similar to what we might think a UFO is. Okay, somebody with sort of neural links and these controls and all this kind of stuff, which is another idea based on these ships that need this symbiotic relationship. It's just taking it one step beyond a living UFO, a living creature that lives in space, which is an old story with science fiction as it goes. But this is an interesting take on it. We're being piloted by this thing, but it's a living creature on its own, right? So here's what Moya looks like, okay? And I've referred to this fish, the midshipman fish, right here. You can be found on the west coast of North America. There, the eagles like to eat them. You see this very primitive kind of fish, but it's a very odd fish. Okay, it has sort of odd attributes, and it's bioluminescent. Okay, it's hiding among these rocks here and everything, but take a look at what it looks like in its bioluminescent form. You see this right here? All right. That's the bioluminescent form of the midshipman fish. Right? Farscape Moya train. It's a freight train too, carrying a heavy load. It's not moving fast. Maybe 12 to 16,000 horsepower needed to move that stuff around. But here's some Moya here, and here's the bioluminescent midshipman fish right here on good old Mother Earth, a creature from the vast ocean of planet Earth. But looks like this, a creature that produces its own light. Okay? And what is Close Encounters telling us? They communicate with light, no words necessary. Each having their own light language. They're trying to tell you, folks. They're trying to tell you what these things are. Okay? Trying to tell you. They're not spacecraft. The government knows they're not spacecraft. Have they reversed engineered it by now? And with these Tic Tac UFOs? Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe the Tic Tac UFOs are coming from inner Earth. There could be, if there is somebody living in inner Earth, you can be sure to go through every length to try to disguise the fact that they're there. And they're probably very good at it. Maybe. I don't know. But it's not coming from space. All right. But these things are, or what we might know as the atmosphere. If you're a flat earther and you don't believe in space or whatever, just coming from up there somewhere, they're just creatures like the millions and billions of creatures right here on this planet. Life is everywhere, including space, folks. These things are just highly intelligent creatures that live in space. I'm trying to tell you. Highly intelligent creatures that have a variety of attributes that creatures right here on our planet that we can identify. Okay. But like a dolphin that has a very big, more evolved brain and more, by mainstream standards, a more evolved brain than ours, they just animals. Okay. So whereas interesting thoughts about evolution there doesn't necessarily mean certain things, but an octopus is certainly one of the smartest creatures on the planet, and it has a little peewee brain, so it's just not the size. Okay, it's the structure. Okay, and these things as well, these things that we believe, all right, that we're told by alternative, which is the controlled opposition, that they're spacecraft with grays and, reptilians in them or so. I'm not ruling out something from a parallel dimension, but I don't think from any other planet in the universe the power needed, the length of time we often go on ours. If we could reduce this technology to go anywhere, it would take a very long time to get there, lifetimes, to get where it is. People are going to come all the way here, spending lifetimes to get here, and then be like, we're not going to talk to you, but we're going to go into your government and all this kind of stuff. Again, They Live is not about aliens. It's a political statement. I love that movie, but it's not about alien takeover. It's about the takeover of alien destructive ideas, evil ideas in our own society by our own ruling classes around the world. That's what it's about. It's not about aliens. It's political. All right? Everything there refers to what they're doing to us now. So, that's political people, not aliens. Could it be an intelligence and, a non human entity from a parallel universe? Maybe. Believe in that before I believe in aliens. It takes too long and takes too much power to get here. But if you're a creature that lives in space and you could travel like a rocket ship through space, okay, maybe you need certain elements and materials to consume to keep your star drive motor going there in your body, can be found on planets like our planet, where only certain elements can be found in abundance. They keep wondering where all the sand is going. There seems to be like a disappearing sand going on or something like that. They can't figure out. Maybe these creatures are eating, or the USOs. These creatures seem at home in the water too, right? Again, truth drops, guys, trying to give it. They're creatures, they're not craft. Get it through your skull. I'm trying to give you the truth here, okay? All that other shit is just nonsense, okay? History Channel will be happy to tell you all about it, to give you this great video at the beginning here. to tell you all about this thread, to keep you off track, to keep you down this rabbit hole. They don't want you to know there's creatures living in space. People might get scared about that, whereas they might not be scared about it, completely scared of these lizards, reptilians, and grays or whatever. And I want to meet UFOs like in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where, you know, the people out there with signs, hey, stop and be friendly, right? That's what this guy's saying, right? Okay, these things are predatory. It's probably the adolescents. They're misbehaving. Okay, just like our adolescents. They did a study of adolescent animals, of higher level animals, higher intelligent animals. Okay, across the board study of many animal species. Okay, apparently all the adolescents in all the species behave in a similar manner. Okay, crazy, right? Okay, all adolescent animals, just like human adolescents, act crazy. Okay, their hormones are all cooked up and everything, and they're coming down here. They're predatory on each other. There's all sorts of different species of them. It's just not like there's one species or something. There's a whole bunch of them. They're preying on each other. That's what these clusters are doing, shooting beams, but not only at us, at each other. And you hear about beams being shot by these things. It's an animal. I'm trying to tell you that. Get it through your thick skull. It's not what the History Channel says. Okay? The government oversees, the FCC oversees everything that's done on TV. All right? And if it's so, they want to cover all the bases in ufology, why aren't they talking about this? Why don't they talk about this more? There's so much more supporting evidence for this. I give it all on my channel here, folks, than just say they're spaceships. Okay, and these people are coming out. These people are seeing these things. This is what their minds are being overpowered by these creatures, and our minds are weak by comparison. Okay, and this is we trying to make of what they're trying to do to us. It's whatever force is being exerted by them is unexplainable. Okay, this is the way they may communicate with each other. Everything is, electrical. We just read to you about the nervous system, about how it's an electrical system. Okay, electricity. These are electromechanical life forms. Okay, that are bioluminescent, bioelectric, and biomechanical. The beam can probe your mind. It can intensify it to kill as well. And these adolescents are predatory. They eat each other. They come down here. They pick up these people. There's no marks on them because it's some sort of magnetic grip that they're exerting on these people. And they accelerate like the dragonfly instantly at full power, at full speed, full power. And what's left behind is the pants and the shoes if you come right off. Like when people get caught in a flood, the first thing that comes off of their bodies is the force of the water takes their clothes right off. Okay, these creatures are accelerating so fast that they've got the people gripped by their shirt, but their pants and everything come off. And the coat probably eventually comes off too as they tighten their grip, loosen and tighten their grip. They drop these people off at higher elevations, miles away, probably in the middle of the ocean, in the Arctic, up in space, and that's where these people are disappearing to. These biomechanical creatures are taking them, they're kidnapping them and chewing them up and doing all kinds of things. It's probably not the adults. It's the adolescent biomechanoids that are doing these bad things, that are misbehaving. Their parents encourage bad behavior, though, like the Japanese airliner there with a mama UFO brought the two little ones down to play with the jet aircraft there. Just a toy for them to play with. They're like dolphins. An aircraft is just like a toy for them to play with. Okay? Hence all the Bermuda Triangle. Where did they go? These things are just playing with them like toys. think they're toys. By comparison, and how like a brain or whatever, how complex they are compared to an airplane or whatever it is, just by by magnitudes, just incredible magnitudes. All right, so look, folks, I'm going to end this video here. I just want you to think about these things, okay? Beyond creepy. They're always getting paralyzed. I'm beyond creepy. They're always being described. They're doing animal behavior again and again and again and again. Shooting beans at each other, okay? Shooting all these beans at each other, all right? Just think about it, folks, all right? These things are biomechanoids that live in space and live in the atmosphere and probably go in holes and come in and out of the ocean and go into all sorts of openings in the earth and everything like bugs. Okay, but they live in the vast ocean of space. The vast ocean of space. Ocean. Creatures, okay, live in space, not spaceships. That's what they want you to believe. Don't believe it. All right. Anyway, guys, on that note, I want to leave you thinking about this. Okay. And next week, I'll get back to the Giants again. All right. Bugcat7 signing off. Peace.